Chosen one, this is not a coincidence. You did not stumble upon this message by chance. Heaven has been orchestrating this moment from the beginning, and your spirit knows it. You can feel it deep within, that something is shifting, that what was once broken is about to be made whole again. There's been a long season of loss, of letting go, of watching things you loved slip through your fingers. People walked away. Opportunities faded. Dreams you once held with both hands seemed to crumble into dust. And yet, you're still standing. You may not understand how, but you're still here. That's the proof that God is not finished with you. What if I told you that everything you lost wasn't truly lost, it was being prepared for multiplication? That the same God who allowed certain things to be removed from your life is the one who is now commanding restoration. Not single, not equal, but double. You've wept over what was taken. You've prayed for what slipped away. You've questioned whether you would ever recover from the weight of it all. But the Spirit of the Lord says, you are entering your season of divine restoration. What was lost will not only return, it will return multiplied. This message is not for everyone. It is for the one who has been faithful in the famine, for the one who has cried silently in the night, but still whispered, God, I trust you. It is for the one who felt forsaken, but chose to remain steadfast. You are that one. You are chosen for this word. In the unseen realm, heaven is aligning what was once scattered. The very pain that broke you is becoming the foundation for your breakthrough. Every tear has been counted. Every delay has been weighed. Nothing has been wasted. In the minutes ahead, I'm going to reveal why your loss was necessary, what God is about to return to you, and how you can recognize the signs of your double portion. But first, still your heart. Take a deep breath. Feel that quiet peace wrapping around you right now. That's the presence of God confirming that this word is yours. You are standing at the edge of divine recompense. The story is turning. The waiting is over. God is saying, I will restore to you double for your trouble. Because when God speaks restoration, the atmosphere shifts. The same air that once carried your sighs now carries his decree. The wind itself begins to whisper, it's time. You might not see the change yet, but something sacred is stirring behind the veil movements in the unseen, rearranging what once seemed immovable. There are moments when heaven does not explain itself, only acts. And this right now is one of those moments. What you lost was never outside his awareness. It was never gone from his reach. In fact, God allowed the subtraction because he had already prepared the multiplication. He says, I was never absent from your pain. I was working through it. While you mourned the empty spaces, he was planting seeds in the soil of your surrender. Every unanswered question, every delay that felt cruel, every closed door, all of it was part of divine arithmetic. God never subtracts without intending to multiply. The Spirit of God is saying, even now I saw you when you chose faith over fear. I saw you when you kept giving even while feeling depleted. I saw you when you stayed silent instead of fighting back. I have recorded every act of quiet obedience, and I am releasing the reward. Heaven remembers what earth forgets. And though you thought this season was a punishment, it was actually a preparation. He has been pruning, not punishing, breaking not to destroy, but to reshape. The branches that seemed cut away are making room for fruit beyond measure. There is a sacred law at work, the law of divine restoration. It's not a negotiation. It's a decree. When God restores, he doesn't return things to their previous state. He returns them better, brighter, multiplied. Think of Job. Everything he lost was accounted for. The years that felt devoured were suddenly repaid in double portion. Not by chance, not by luck, by divine order. The same hand that allowed the storm was the same hand that brought the sunrise. And so it is with you. Heaven has issued a command concerning your name. The time for reclaiming has begun. What once seemed like loss will soon be recognized as repositioning. You are being set where favor can find you again, this time with stability, maturity, and divine authority. Do you feel it? That gentle pull in your spirit, the way your heart seems to steady. That's confirmation. The word is alive, moving through the cracks of your circumstances, declaring that your waiting has not been wasted. This message is not imagination. It is not wishful thinking. It is a heavenly announcement that restoration has been released in your timeline. The decree has gone forth. You will recover all and more. So keep listening closely, because what's coming next will explain the reason for every delay, every detour, and every heartbreak you thought was the end. In the next breath, you're about to hear the prophecy unveiled, the very word that will shift how you see your past and reveal what God is building next. Listen carefully now, because what's being revealed in this moment is not just information, it's transformation. Heaven does not waste words. Every syllable carries weight, and what's about to unfold will explain why your story had to bend before it could break open. There has been a decree written in the unseen. Everything that was lost, stolen, delayed, or denied shall be returned in double measure. This is not a poetic phrase, it's a spiritual law. When God restores, He multiplies. In this hour, the Lord is reversing verdicts spoken against your destiny. The season of subtraction is over. You have crossed the invisible line between not yet and now. The time of divine payback has begun. For months, even years, you have been walking through what felt like the valley of silence, praying yet hearing nothing, building yet seeing no fruit, believing yet waiting. But heaven has been collecting those moments, storing them in jars of remembrance. And now the lid has been opened. The fragrance of your faith has reached the throne. God says, I will restore to you the years the locust has eaten. Not just the things you lost, the years that were lost. The time that felt wasted, the energy that felt drained, the opportunities that slipped away. Every bit of it is being redeemed. You will see the divine paradox unfold. That loss was never the end, but the seed of multiplication. Just as a grain of wheat must fall into the ground and die before it bears much fruit, your losses have been seeds buried in faith. And now the soil is breaking open. Life is emerging where you thought there was nothing left. You are stepping into what heaven calls the double portion era. It's the moment when what was unfair becomes favor, when what broke you becomes your blessing, when what left you empty becomes your evidence that God never left. I see it in the spirit, closed doors creaking open, once frozen rivers flowing again, and names that were forgotten being spoken again in rooms of influence. The season of invisibility is ending. Those who overlooked you will soon be unable to ignore you. But understand this restoration will not come through human hands alone. God is orchestrating it in divine order. Some of what returns to you will arrive quietly, a call you weren't expecting, a message you thought would never come, an opportunity that seems too perfect to be coincidence. Others will arrive like a flood, undeniable, unmistakable, overflowing. And yet, it's not just about possessions or positions. The greater restoration is within you. The joy you thought was gone forever. The peace that used to cradle you before the storm. The confidence you once carried like sunlight on your skin. God is breathing those back into you, stronger, steadier, unshakable. He says you will not recognize yourself when this is done. The pain that marked you will become the proof that I was with you. There is a divine exchange taking place, ashes for beauty, mourning for joy, heaviness for praise. You may still see the smoke from what burned, but look again. Something new is rising from the ashes. The Spirit of the Lord whispers, I am multiplying what was minimized. I am resurrecting what was buried. I am redeeming what was broken. Your losses were never meant to destroy you. They were designed to define your next dimension. So do not be surprised when the restoration begins. Subtly, one small door, one gentle nudge, one divine meeting. It will seem too ordinary at first, but the ordinary will soon reveal the extraordinary. The prophecy has already been activated. Heaven has moved on your behalf. And though your eyes may still see wilderness, your spirit will soon see harvest. In this revelation, one truth stands unshakable. What you lost will multiply, and what you endured will testify. You have entered the hour of divine repayment. The promise of restoration is more than a reward, it's a revelation. It reveals who God has always been and who you were always meant to become. This isn't just about getting back what was lost. It's about becoming the kind of soul that can steward what returns. Every divine restoration begins with transformation. That's why the loss had to happen first. The subtraction wasn't punishment. It was purification. You had to be emptied of what was temporary so you could hold what was eternal. There is a sacred rhythm in the way heaven moves. Breaking before building, pruning, before blooming quiet, before calling. You were not being buried, you were being planted. And the darkness that surrounded you wasn't evidence of death. It was the womb of rebirth. When God multiplies, He multiplies in secret first. The roots always grow before the fruit appears. That's why it looked like nothing was happening. That's why you felt forgotten. But silence does not mean absence. Hiddenness does not mean abandonment. It was all part of divine timing. Divine timing is not delay, it's design. It's heaven's way of protecting you from what would have destroyed you had it arrived too soon. If the blessing had come before your character was ready, it would have crushed you. So God withheld it not to harm you, but to heal you. This is the spiritual meaning of your waiting. You were being aligned, not denied. Every disappointment was direction. Every rejection was redirection. Every closed door was divine protection. And while the enemy whispered that you were losing, God was writing a better ending. He knew the moment the scales would tip, the second your preparation would meet His promise. That moment is approaching now. Your pain has been the sacred classroom of heaven. The lessons were never about punishment, they were about perception. You had to learn to see differently. To see that faith isn't just believing in God's power, it's trusting His process. Faith doesn't prevent the storm. It teaches you to dance in the rain. It doesn't remove the valley. It gives you vision to see beyond it. And when faith has done its work, you emerge refined, not fragile, but fortified. That's why your restoration will be greater. Because you're not the same person who lost it. You've changed. You've grown. You've become a vessel strong enough to carry what's coming. In the spiritual realm, the principle of double isn't random. It's a mirror of God's justice. Whenever there has been unjust loss, heaven demands double recompense. Isaiah 61:7 declares, "Instead of shame, you shall receive a double portion." That's not metaphor, that's law. It's written into the fabric of divine order. Where there has been pain, there must be power. Where there has been loss, there must be increase. And so your story is about to display this truth that God never ends on empty. He restores to prove His sovereignty, but He multiplies to reveal His nature. Think about it. When Jesus fed the 5,000, there were leftovers. When He filled the nets of His disciples, they overflowed. When He turned water into wine, it wasn't barely enough. It was more than enough. Heaven never stops at enough. Heaven overflows. That's the essence of your prophecy. What's returning to you won't fit neatly into your old life, because it's not meant to. The blessing that's coming is designed for the new you, the wiser, humbler, stronger version that rose from the ashes. Every storm was a sculptor. Every tear was a teacher. Every silence was a sanctuary. And now the lesson is complete. You understand that your worth was never tied to what you lost, but to the one who restores. Your destiny is not to rebuild what was, but to step into what will be. The double portion isn't just more things, it's more clarity, more authority, more peace, more joy. It's the abundance that comes when your soul has learned to trust. So if you still feel the ache of what's gone, remember, that ache is the space God left open for the blessing that's about to arrive. Don't fill it with fear. Don't rush to replace it. Let heaven fill it with divine increase, because when God multiplies, He fills every void with purpose. And soon you'll see why none of it was wasted, not the pain, not the waiting, not the letting go. All of it was the preparation for the overflow. When heaven moves, it always leaves traces. God never performs a miracle without evidence. And right now, if you look closely, you'll see that the signs of restoration have already begun to appear small, subtle, but undeniable. The first sign is inner stirring. Something inside you has awakened a quiet sense that something good is coming, even though you can't explain why. It's as if your spirit knows what your mind can't yet comprehend. That sudden spark of hope after so much weariness. That's not random. That's your spirit responding to heaven's whisper saying, "Prepare. It's already begun." The second sign is divine alignment. People are being rearranged around you. Some connections have ended abruptly. Others have entered your life with perfect timing. It may have felt confusing at first, but it's actually orchestration. God is removing what can't go with you into your double portion and introducing those assigned to your next level. These alignments are not accidents. They are heaven's logistics. The third sign is restored clarity. For a long time, your mind felt foggy, heavy, uncertain. You questioned your path, your decisions, even your worth. But lately there's been a fresh wind of clarity moments where you just know what's right, what's next, what feels peaceful. That peace is not coincidence. It's confirmation. Peace is heaven's signature on the plans of God. The fourth sign is unexpected favor. Doors that were once locked are cracking open. Someone mentions your name in a room you've never entered. A new opportunity appears that you didn't chase. These are not random. God is sending favor ahead of you, quiet messengers preparing the way. When favor moves before you, even obstacles start cooperating. The fifth sign is spiritual acceleration. What once took months now happens in days. Delays are suddenly dissolving. What was stuck begins to move. This is what happens when heaven touches your timeline. Divine speed overtakes natural time. God redeems not only what was lost, but also the time that was stolen. And finally, the sixth sign, confirmation through repetition. When God wants to make sure you know it's Him, He repeats Himself. You'll hear the same phrase in a sermon, a song, a conversation, even a stranger's words, double restoration. It's coming back. Don't ignore it. That's the language of heaven echoing through your reality. So pay attention to these patterns. They are not coincidences, they are coordinates. Heaven speaks in patterns and timing. What you're seeing, sensing, and feeling right now is evidence that restoration is already underway. If you've been noticing these signs, take heart. They are not glimpses of what might happen. They are proof of what is happening. The seed is sprouting beneath the surface. The shift is real. And even if your surroundings still look unchanged, understand this: the spiritual always manifests before the physical. By the time you see it with your eyes, it's already been finished in the unseen. This is your confirmation. You are standing in the beginning of your comeback story. Now that heaven has set restoration in motion, it's important to understand blessings rarely arrive without a battle. Every breakthrough carries its own resistance. The enemy cannot stop what God has decreed, but he will try to distract, delay, or discourage you before it manifests. That's why the days before your miracle may feel strangely heavy. You might notice sudden confusion, unexpected conflict, or fatigue that seems to come out of nowhere. It's not coincidence, it's confirmation that you're crossing a spiritual threshold. Before the promise becomes visible, the pressure always intensifies. That's how you know the birth is near. The enemy often launches his loudest attack right before the silence breaks. But hear this truth clearly: the warfare you're feeling is not a sign of defeat. It's proof of proximity. One hidden challenge you may face is spiritual exhaustion. After long waiting, even good news can feel unreal. You may doubt whether you still have the strength to believe. But remember, you are not required to manufacture faith only to remain open to it. God's strength is filling the spaces where yours ran out. Another challenge will be tests of patience. You will be tempted to rush ahead to create your own version of the promise before it's ready. But divine timing is delicate. If you move too soon, the blessing won't yet have structure to sustain itself. Don't trade preparation for immediacy. God is aligning people, places, and opportunities. Let Him finish His work. A third challenge is emotional warfare. Memories of what you lost may resurface. Regret, fear, or comparison may try to whisper that it's too late. But that's only the echo of an old season. When those thoughts come, speak this truth aloud: that version of me no longer lives there. You are walking in resurrection, not repetition. There will also be tests of humility. When your double portion arrives, it may come through unexpected channels, even from those who once doubted or rejected you. Stay gracious. Remember, restoration is not revenge, it's redemption. The purpose of double is not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove that God was right about you all along. And perhaps the most hidden challenge of all, the silence between signs. Even after the confirmations begin, there may still be quiet days where nothing seems to move. That silence is not punishment, it's sanctification. God is grounding you so the blessing won't uproot you. So when it feels like you're fighting unseen battles, stand still. Breathe. Pray. Speak peace into the atmosphere. Because sometimes the greatest act of faith is not movement, but stillness. You are passing through the narrow space between promise and manifestation. It may feel like pressure, but it's actually positioning. The shaking isn't breaking you, it's aligning you. Hold fast. These hidden challenges are not delays. They are confirmations that your double portion is near. Every prophecy carries a partnership. God initiates the promise, but He invites you to participate in its fulfillment. Restoration doesn't simply arrive, it must be received, prepared for, and protected. That's why heaven is now giving you divine instruction, not to burden you, but to align you. The first instruction is simple yet powerful: guard your atmosphere. Not every voice can speak into this new season. Some people around you are still speaking from your old season, from pain, doubt, or fear. Be discerning about what you allow into your spirit. Protect your peace as if it were treasure, because it is. Before increase can come, noise must go. Begin your days in stillness. Before checking your phone, pause and whisper, "God, order my steps today." That single act of surrender will shift the trajectory of your entire day. Heaven responds to still hearts. The second instruction: speak life deliberately. Words are not decoration, they are creation. The same way God spoke light into darkness, you are now being asked to speak abundance into your atmosphere. Say it aloud. What I lost will multiply. What was closed will open. What was delayed will accelerate. These are not affirmations. They are decrees. Every time you speak them, you authorize heaven to move in agreement with your faith. The third instruction, stay faithful in small things. Before God releases double, He tests how you handle little. Be diligent with what's already in your hands, your work, your relationships, your resources, your words. Excellence is worship. Consistency is warfare. When you show heaven, you can steward what you already have. The multiplication becomes unstoppable. The fourth instruction, forgive quickly. Unforgiveness is the silent thief of blessing. It locks the flow of favor and clouds the heart. Release those who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. The same hand that restores also redeems. Let God handle justice while you protect your joy. The fifth instruction, stay in gratitude, even before it happens. Gratitude is the bridge between prophecy and manifestation. When you thank God in advance, you declare that the promise is already yours. Every moment of praise becomes a magnet for miracles. Speak gratitude not just for what's coming, but for what has already been, even the lessons that came through pain. The sixth instruction, move when prompted. Restoration often requires participation. There will be nudges, inner whispers, to reach out, to apply again, to start that project, to take a step you once feared. Don't dismiss those impulses. The Spirit leads quietly, but clearly. When you feel that divine nudge, act. Obedience opens doors that prayer alone cannot. And finally, the seventh instruction, write the vision. Don't let your double portion remain abstract. Put it on paper. Write down what you're believing for, not as a wish list, but as a covenant statement. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision, make it plain that he may run who reads it." When you write, you make faith visible. When you read it aloud, you make it active. These instructions are not rules. They are road signs. Each one keeps you on the path to manifestation. Without them, it's easy to wander back into fear, distraction, or delay. But when you walk in them daily, your atmosphere begins to shift. Soon you'll notice how aligned everything feels. How what used to drain you no longer affects you. How peace begins to surround you. How small doors suddenly lead to large opportunities. That's the power of alignment. Remember, God is not asking for perfection, only participation. When heaven gives you divine instruction, it's an invitation into partnership. You are not just waiting for restoration. You are co-laboring with it. Stay sensitive to His whispers, alert to His timing, and faithful in your preparation. Because every act of obedience, no matter how small, is a seed that accelerates the blessing. The next move is sacred. Walk slowly, listen deeply, and trust completely. You are being positioned for what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. As you walk forward, know this: you are not walking alone. The same God who promised restoration has also assigned protection to your path. What's being released over your life is not only blessing, it is covering. Heaven's shield surrounds you. Even when you cannot see it, it is there, invisible, but impenetrable. Every plan formed against you is losing power even now. The arrows that once flew so close to your peace are falling harmlessly to the ground. For it is written, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." You have angels assigned to your restoration. They are not symbols or metaphors. They are real unseen guardians moving on divine command. When you sleep, they stand watch. When you travel, they go ahead. When you speak God's word, they execute it. That's why no matter how much opposition rises, it cannot overthrow what heaven has already decreed. Sometimes God doesn't remove the storm. He fortifies you within it. He gives you peace that confuses logic, the kind of calm that doesn't come from understanding, but from presence. That's divine assurance. It's knowing that even if the ground shakes, the promise remains. You've been through too much not to be protected now. The fire you endured purified you. The wilderness trained you. You've developed discernment, the ability to sense when something is not from God, to walk away from distractions without guilt, to recognize when peace lifts, and to pause until it returns. That sensitivity is divine armor. When fear tries to whisper, "What if it happens again?" remind yourself you are not who you were back then. You are wiser, stronger covered. The same grace that carried you through loss will now carry you through increase. And even if you encounter moments of uncertainty, remember God's hand is still guiding the path you cannot see. Every detour has purpose. Every delay hides protection. Sometimes He withholds to preserve. Sometimes He closes doors to prevent collapse. Sometimes He silences voices to save your focus. That's how divine love defends not with noise, but with wisdom. You are surrounded, not stranded. Guarded, not forgotten. Every step you take now is shielded by the word that went before you. The atmosphere around you is shifting to accommodate favor. Take this to heart, nothing. And no one can sabotage what heaven has secured. What belongs to you carries your name written in light. No counterfeit can claim it. So breathe deeply. Let peace settle into you like sunlight through an open window. Feel the assurance of being seen, known, and covered. You have made it through the wilderness. Now you will walk under divine protection into your promised land. There will come a moment quiet, almost sacred, when you'll realize the storm has passed. You'll wake up one morning and feel it, the heaviness has lifted. The silence that once felt suffocating now feels peaceful. The air itself will seem different, lighter, brighter, holy. That's how transformation begins, not always in a roar, but in a whisper. The same hands that once trembled with exhaustion will now hold blessings too weighty for fear to shake. The same eyes that once cried in the dark will see light breaking over horizons you never thought you'd reach. You'll look around and realize this is what divine fulfillment feels like, not rushed, not forced, but perfectly timed. Your heart will understand the purpose of every delay. You'll look back at what you lost and say, if that hadn't left, this couldn't have come. Suddenly, the pain that once defined you will only remind you of how strong grace truly is. You'll see how God was never taking from you. He was trading with you. Every loss was an exchange for something higher. Every tear watered the soil for the harvest now blooming at your feet. Doors will open that your effort couldn't force. People will remember your name for reasons only God could arrange. What once seemed impossible will flow naturally, gracefully, as if creation itself recognizes your calling. Because it does. When the double portion comes, it won't feel like luck. It will feel like destiny catching up. You'll realize you were never behind. You were being aligned. What took others years will happen in moments. The time that was stolen will be restored in acceleration. And your spirit, oh, your spirit will glow differently. You will laugh again freely, not as someone pretending to be healed, but as someone who is. You will move through the world lighter, clearer, anchored. Gratitude will become your language. Peace will be your posture. This is what fulfillment looks like, not the absence of struggle, but the mastery of peace within it. You'll no longer chase validation because you'll carry divine confirmation within. The storms may still come, but you'll no longer fear them. You've seen what God can do with ashes. You know He turns them into beauty. And those around you will notice. They'll say, something about you has changed. They won't always understand it, but they'll feel it. The same glory that restored you will radiate through you. Your life will become living proof that God still restores that faith, still works that obedience, still opens impossible doors. Even your walk will carry purpose. You'll step with quiet authority, not pride but certainty. You'll speak with a gentleness that only healed people carry. You'll love differently without fear of loss, because you'll know that nothing truly yours can ever be taken again. And deep within, there will be that steady awareness, I made it. God kept me. The story didn't end in loss. It ended in overflow. This is the fulfillment of the prophecy, not just what you receive, but who you become through it. The restoration is not merely around you, it's within you. You will live as one who has seen both the valley and the mountain and found God faithful in both. That is true abundance, to know that no matter what comes, you cannot be diminished again. Because once you've been restored by heaven, you walk with a light that never goes out. Take a deep breath. You have journeyed through the storm, the silence, the stretching, and the waiting. And you've arrived here at the threshold of restoration. What heaven promised has already been set in motion. All that's left is for you to walk forward with faith. Before this word ends, let these truths settle deep in your spirit. They are not just affirmations, they are declarations that echo the voice of heaven. Affirmation 1. What I lost will multiply. Nothing is wasted. Everything is working for my good. Say it until your soul believes it. You're not hoping for restoration, you're walking in it. Affirmation 2. God's timing is perfect, and I will not miss what belongs to me. You are not late, you are right on schedule. Every delay was divine preparation. Affirmation 3. I am covered, chosen, and called for increase. You are no longer defined by loss, but by purpose. The favor on your life is visible, undeniable, unstoppable. Affirmation 4. The double portion is my portion. When you speak this, heaven agrees. The restoration you carry now is not fragile. It is fortified by divine decree. Let these words become the rhythm of your days. Speak them when you rise. Whisper them when you rest. Let them echo through every decision, every breath, every step. Because your voice carries authority, and what you declare you will see. Now may this blessing settle upon you like gentle rain after a long drought. May the God who restores restore you completely, body, mind, and spirit. May every empty place within you overflow again. May peace become your atmosphere, joy your constant companion, and favor your new normal. May the doors once closed swing wide with divine timing. And may the years that were lost return multiplied, redeemed, and refined. May your hands never lack your heart, never fear, and your faith never fail. May angels surround your steps, and may heaven's light go before you. And when you look back on this moment, may you remember it as the day everything began to turn in your favor. Because this is not the end, it's the unveiling. The page has turned. The promise stands. The double portion is here. You are restored. You are ready. You are free. And it is so.